Hey guys, Jesylee in the house. I had a couple of conversations with a couple of different people today, which has inspired me to make this episode and talk about these topics. One of which I posted something on my Snapchat where I said, life is what you make it. I said, reminder, life is what you make it. And someone responded, and this is absolutely no hate. I'm not coming out here to talk about putting anyone down, because that's absolutely not what I'm here for. Like, I want to just share what I want to share in hopes that, you know, if you're experiencing or going through whatever you're going through, that I can shed some light. And you may even have the same perception as this person. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? So I just wanted to say that quickly. So I said, life is what you make it. You know, obviously be in a really, really freaking good mood today. And someone responded saying, you have bad days though, it's hard to make it great. And I responded, I had to just take that in for a little bit. And then I responded something along the lines of, well, that is through your perception. You are what makes life good or bad. You. And this is what I want to dive in about perception, because I don't think we understand how powerful we are. We're not taught this. Your perception is key. Your perception is key. You perceive things. You perceive everything in your life through your own perception. I have said this many times before. Imagine two people going to a concert, you and your best friend. You're going to have very different experiences, but you go to the exact same concert. You go to the exact same concert, you experience everything the same, but you perceive it so differently. So fucking differently. You could be like, oh my God, it was the best concert ever. They were amazing, blah, blah, blah. Your best friend could say it was the worst concert ever because, you know, it was overcrowded, blah, 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 right? Your perception is so powerful. I will keep repeating that until it gets locked into your mind. Now, when we have, quote unquote, a bad day, it's because we're perceiving that as a bad day. That's how we're interpreting it. Everything in life that happens is neutral. It happens to us neutrally. But we give meaning through our own perception, and we automatically, through our default programming, take it on as bad. Take it on as a specific meaning, which is a negative emotion, a negative belief. We claim that bad days are bad days, negative bad days. So with this person, when he said that when you have bad days, it's hard to make it great. And like, hands up, how many people have thought of this? I think of this all the time, but I now don't like to claim that I ever have a bad day. Ever. There's no such thing as a bad day. I can't. If we say that we have a bad day, we're accepting that for ourselves. We're perceiving that. The way that I like to look at bad days, bear with me, seriously, bear with me. The way that I like to look at having a bad day necessarily is like, I change it to a learning day or a challenge day, because things that we face in life that we automatically perceive it as negative is a lesson for us. It's been put in our life for a particular reason. So rather than disregarding it, fucking it off, saying that it's ruined our whole day, actually shed light on it and take a step back and open up your awareness. So rather than perceiving it from one direction of it fucked up my whole day, it was a bad thing, quote unquote bad thing, look at it from a different perspective. How is this actually teaching me something? Rather than automatically thinking it's negative, how is this something that's teaching me? What am I needing to learn from this lesson? So when you claim that you have a bad day, then you're accepting that truth for yourself. You're going to receive more bad days because you're feeding your ego that what it wants, which is the perceived, the paradigms, the subconscious mind's way of programming. And it's like default mode. It's like your mind is running your thoughts and your thoughts are running your life. So stop it right now. And rather than saying, I never have any money, I can't do this, I'm always having bad days, things are always fucking up shit for me, or whatever it is that you keep perceiving and claiming for yourself, actually change it. You have the power of changing it. This is why we have our own self-concept, is that we can take things in because we have our own free will to do so. So if you want to take in something that's perceived as negative, then that you're accepting that as true for yourself. And I don't accept that for myself anymore. If I'm going through a tough time, I look at what's going on and I'm like, what am I needing to learn from this situation, rather than going, this is happening to me, I have no control. Because you have control over everything in your life. And when I mean by everything, it's like you have control on how you react, how you perceive it. You may not be able to control how someone speaks to you or a situation, but you always, always, always have the choice on how you react through your perception. So your perception is driving your whole life. If you have this perception, if you perceive things as always being hard, like money being hard to earn, or being limited, or just things are never working out for you, that's your perception. You're going to continually playing that same role over and over again. You're going to continue that story, your own perception of that reality. It's going to keep coming truth to yourself, like truth and to your life. And if you're unhappy and you're claiming these stories and you're claiming these situations and you're feeding this negative mindset, which is your way of perceiving things, then it's going to keep leading you to a negative path in life. It's up to you. You got to change it. You got to change it. Nip it up the ass right now. And how I do this, I say this all the time, is becoming aware of your thoughts, because your thoughts are what driving your decisions, your emotions, everything, your life. It's what's driving your life. Don't accept this as true for yourself just because you perceive it one way. Don't think that there's not another way that you can perceive it. Don't think that there's another meaning to things, meaning to life, or meaning to a particular situation that you're going through. And I remember first big aha moment for me was when I was going out clubbing. It was at the very start of the night, and I went out with my two friends. At the very beginning of the night, my zipper broke for my top, and it came all the way up to my boobie. So like I was pretty much flashing my boobie. So I was in the bathroom, because this was in the bathroom after I went to the toilet. I went to fix the zip and it broke. The whole thing broke. And I was like, what the F do I do? What the F? I panicked. I was like panicking. And I was just thinking, fuck, I need to go home. And it was at the start of the night, and so it wasn't actually, it was a club. It turned into a club, but we were there to see a show. A Magic Men show, actually. And it was at the very beginning of the night, and I just thought, what? My night's ruined. I need to go home because I can't walk around. There's absolutely no way I'm going to be walking around with my tits showing. So I called my friends in the bathroom. I said, you got to come here, like help me. And I was panicking. And as they were, they came into the bathroom. They were like, oh my God, what's wrong? Blah, blah, blah. They looked at it, tried to fix it, couldn't fix it. And I said, just give me a minute, please. Like, I was like so overwhelmed right now in that moment. And I took a minute to breathe. I went back into the toilet, sat there. I said, what is this teaching me in this moment right now? Took a couple breaths. And I remember feeling at that moment, thinking the reason why I was so scared was the fact that people were going to judge me for having a broken zipper. Because what happened was the zipper was zipped. It was just split. You know how like the zipper part slips, and I tried to undo it, and it got stuck. So I couldn't. So I had like flesh of skin there. You couldn't actually see my tit, but there was room for my tit to kind of escape if I let it. And so anyway, in that moment, I said I could either go home by myself, because I obviously went in there with my friends, or I could stay there and be miserable because I'm so self-conscious about the zip, and that's going to obviously ruin my night because that's all I'd be thinking about. I wouldn't be able to have fun. Or I could just get the fuck over it and have fun. Because my biggest concern, it was crazy when I was able to step back for a second and be like, okay, I'm not my emotions. I'm just feeling frustrated and whatever. And I felt my main thing that I was feeling in that moment was scared that people were going to like judge me and look at me and be like, oh, your zip is broken. Because I could get away with it. It was on the side. Like, it wasn't like the end of the world. But, you know, I just had to be obviously really careful that my titty wasn't going to slip out. And so after I gathered myself, I was like, well, you know, I'm not going to let this ruin my night. I'm actually going to have a fucking great night and just hide it best as I can. And if people see it, then people see it. Because I knew we were going clubbing after. And then towards the end, like, I went out and watched the show, whatever. And then there was a dance floor as well. And I remember, like, I was driving home, I'm pretty sure. So I didn't even think that was an option to leave because I was driving. And I remember on the dance floor, and I had completely forgotten about it. And then I remember dancing, and then I was like, oh yeah, my zipper broke. And there was another issue where I went to the same show like weeks later, and my buckle on my shoe broke, which was like I couldn't wear my shoes. So I went to full panic mode. And after it took a couple minutes to relax and to just stop freaking the fuck out, I was able to come up with a solution and fix it, which was just literally finding rope. I found string, and I was able to make it like a strap out of it, and problem solved. So my point is, when we go through something, we automatically react and we automatically perceive it a particular way. We're like, oh fuck, like my perception that night was, why the fuck is this happening to me? Like, my night is over, got to go home, whatever. I'm going to have a miserable night. And then I took a step back and I was like, well, this is not how I want my night to be. Luckily, I was practicing self-awareness. I was practicing being consciously aware of my mind. I'd been doing that for like a year or so at that moment. And so I took a step back, took a couple of big deep breaths, and I was like, well, okay, what can I do? You know, obviously I'm thinking this way, but there's another way to look at things. What am I learning from this? How can I solve the issue? And I changed my perception, and I was able to have a good night regardless. So my point is that it doesn't matter what we go through or what happens, it's how we respond to it. We have a choice on how we react. So if you're claiming that you have bad days all the time, then I guess that's your life, and that's going to continue to be your life, and that's the way you're going to perceive things. And the beauty of your own perception is that when you open your perception to other possibilities, then it's crazy. It becomes first, it becomes like a habit. Like, you get so like intrigued by it, because you have this new profound way of looking at the world. It's not like, you know, if your perception is like pretty much like one way, then you're very narrow-minded. Sorry, but you are kind of ignorant in a way. Sorry, not sorry. But if you open your awareness and look at how there could be other possibilities, other outcomes, you know, it doesn't have to be just the way that you're automatically perceiving it. You actually have a different outlook on life. Life changes. It's just like when you fall in love with the type of car, and then and this is how it used to happen to me all the time, and then I would open my perception to like focusing on that car, and then everywhere I'd go out, I would look around and that type of car would be in my life, like in my experience. I'd see it all the time. And that's just because I've opened my perception to that. So don't be so fucking narrow-minded with your perception. Trust me. And it takes practice, but it also takes a willing to want to be able to change life. Like, not accept that bad days have to be bad days. This has to be this. Like, it's up to you. it's up to you. So stop playing the victim in your life and thinking that it's everyone else's fault, or this is the only way that's going to be. I'm never going to change. I'm so sick of the way that I look. Whatever it is, you can change it. That was another thing that I was actually going to talk about, which was another conversation that I had with someone. They actually reached out to me and they said, can you look at my appearance and rate me? And I was like, what? And they said that their appearance has been holding them back and they lack self-confidence because of their appearance. Now, does this land with you? Honestly, because it used to land with me. I used to look at my appearance and think I was so fucking ugly. I lacked confidence because I felt ugly. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I'd always think, how fucking ugly am I? Disgusting. I remember thinking that so deeply. And I said to him, no, that is just your opinion. Your opinion is what's holding you back. It's not your appearance. When you gain the confidence, your opinion about yourself changes. Therefore, your appearance changes. I said, it's got nothing to do with what you look like. It's what you think you look like. It's how you look at yourself. And that's where, again, this is your own perception of how you think you look. When you change the way that you feel like you think that you look like if you think that you're this ugly batshit type of person and then you change it and you decide, no, I'm fucking hot, people are going to think you're hot because you've changed the way that you've looked at yourself. Therefore, the outer results are going to show the same. Life is a mirror reflecting back at you. Whatever you project out is what you receive back. Trust me, I'm a perfect example of this. And I remember thinking, I had a really bad, not only bad relationship with myself, but with guys as well. I always thought that I could never, ever, ever get a guy's attention. Ever. I'm not even kidding you. You're probably thinking, what the fuck? Because I'm so confident now and I'm so, comfortable in my skin and my body and who I am. But it's no, I used to actually struggle having a conversation with guys. If you've seen my TikTok, you've seen the stories that I talk about how I used to try to get these guys' attentions at school because I was just so fucking shy and I didn't think that I was worthy enough of even holding a conversation with a guy, let alone being with a guy, because I felt ugly, I felt stupid, I felt unworthy, all of these things. And then now I made a video, I think, on YouTube in 2022, at the start of 2022, about being a magnet. I will never forget that video because that was when I had that was an aha moment for me when I realized that how you feel and how you see yourself is what other people are going to see and feel for you. Does that make sense? And when I was able to do the work, I did a lot of the work around the end of 2021, start of 2022. I made that video because all of these guys were reaching out to me and I was so surprised. I'd never received that before. And because I had claimed that I was a magnet, I was a guy magnet, and I just wanted to feel sexy and worthy and all this stuff. And because I felt it within myself and I started looking at myself as worthy and pretty, beautiful, all these things like that, then I ended up becoming a magnet. And all these guys were reaching out to me. So if you do lack the self-confidence, it's just your perception of yourself. It's your own opinion about yourself. Oh, shit, I just hit the microphone. Eek. It's not anything less. Anyone else's opinion towards you is irrelevant. It's got nothing to do. When he asked me for my opinion, I said, why? My opinion doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. The only thing that matters is your opinion about yourself, because you're sending that out. You're projecting that outwards. That's your own perception. So don't ever ask me Don't ever ask me to rate your appearance, because I will never, because it's so irrelevant what I think. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks, your parents, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. It's so fucking irrelevant. The only opinion you should care about is your own opinion. And don't forget, I have my self-love webinar, which is free, hosting it on Wednesday the 22nd. It's all about self-love. It's all about this topic. It's going to be so powerful. I talk about the like, know, trust, which is the 3 elements that I like to dive deep into, getting to know yourself. Because when we lack the self-confidence, it's because we don't know ourselves. We don't know who we are. No one knows who we are. No one knows who they are, because we don't spend enough time for ourselves. We spend our whole lives trying to be someone else, because that's what society wants us to do. So when you actually ask yourself, well, who am I? We go, what the fuck? We scratch our heads and we go, I have no idea. And I hated myself because I didn't know myself. I didn't really deeply know who Jessie is. Beyond my name, beyond my body, whatever. I didn't know who I was. This is a very soul level type. This is spiritual. This is getting into a little bit of the spiritual essence. And I feel like I didn't really get into the spiritual side until at least a year into my personal development. And that's when I really started to figure out who I was, because what I realized is that we're spiritual beings here living a human experience, not the other way around. We're not humans living a spiritual being or whatever. We're spiritual beings living a human experience. And I feel like when you truly understand what that means, I promise you life starts to get a lot easier and things just start to make more sense. But it's about doing the work, being open-minded and actually wanting to learn. We have to want to learn this stuff. If we don't, we're not going to. I literally listen to multiple motivational speakers, personal development gurus, spiritual people, all of those type of people every single day. I listen to them. I study them. I figure out. I want to learn more about it. I'm so invested. And I love researching this stuff because knowledge is power. If you want to learn who you are, learn. You've got to learn. You've actually got to put in the time and effort. No excuses. But if I asked you how much time do you put aside a day to learn who you are, most of us will say no time. I never did it at the start. I used to hate wanting to even get to spend time. A lot of us can't spend time alone. COVID kind of forced us to do that. And a lot of anxiety and all these emotions and depression started appearing, reforming type thing, because we had never had that time to ourselves before, because we always made ourselves busy, created chaos because we're obsessed with chaos. So there's a lot of things that I hope you take from this, and I think your perception is going to completely change your outlook on life. But I say this every time, every podcast I probably say this, is it's up to you at the end of the day. No one's going to push you. No one's going to motivate you. No one's going to say you have to do this every day. No one's going to be like, come on, it's time to do the personal development work, or it's time to create time for you. No one's going to push you. It's up to you. And then you got to ask yourself, how badly do you want it? Or are you just happy being unhappy? And I am definitely on the other side of that. I fucking hated being unhappy. I was miserable. And it took a decision to want to change. So it's up to you. So if you want to change, then you can do it. And I can help you through the mentor process. And please check out my free webinar. Please join. It's going to be really powerful. I'm really excited. I'm so excited. Get a tea, coffee, bev, pen and paper, and let's start fucking feeling deeply, because that's what we need to do. We need to feel deeply. But that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about in this episode. Be sure to like my episodes. I never say this, but you can subscribe, I'm pretty sure, to the podcast. So please do subscribe. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel too if you watch me here. And I'm on TikTok as well. I'll be going live as well because I've got access again. So I'm pretty much all over the place. And also I have a Facebook group, the High Vibe Club. Join that as well. But anyway, until next time, I love you guys.